We deployed VMware View as part of our virtual desktop infrastructure project. We had been wanting to do virtual desktop infrastructure for quite a long time due to the benefits that we perceived we would receive from virtual desktop infrastructure, which would be the ability to control operational costs, to centrally manage our desktop environment, which would give us a much better security. Also, the thing that we were really looking for here was to provide a platform that would give our mobile workers a safe and secure way to unchain themselves from the desk and get out into the client environment. We chose to use our Windows 7 migration as the opportunity, if you will, to do the virtual desktop infrastructure. Now, we chose VMware View because we'd been using VMware server products since 2006, so we were already familiar with the product set, the management suite, and those type of things. Obviously, user acceptance is key to the success of any project, and with today's technology environment, users have high expectations. In the case of where we're replacing a physical desktop with a virtual desktop infrastructure, we knew that it would be important to provide them performance that was at least on par, if not better, than what they were currently getting from their desktop PC. When I first began talking with colleagues about our virtual desktop infrastructure project, the first thing I would hear from most of them was, oh, you're going to be putting thin client technology out to the bank tellers to use. And my response was, no, actually our primary target user was what I call our knowledge workers, our commercial loan officers, our wealth management advisors, those people that actually need to get out from the desk and get out to client locations to better service their clients. And so that was really the main target, the main focus user group for our VDI project. During the testing phase of our VDI project, everything went really well. And so we made the decision to go to production with it. We felt confident in our architecture, the equipment supporting that architecture. Test results had been fantastic, and so we began to move to production. Once we hit about 90 users, we started getting calls about slow performance on our virtual desktop infrastructure environment. And that really puzzled us because we had designed our environment to handle 500 users. And so we began looking at why are we having these problems with performance all of a sudden? And so it quickly became apparent that we were having an I/O bottleneck, an input-output bottleneck with our storage processors. So we began to ask around, talking to our storage vendors and other people that we work with, how can we resolve this problem with the storage processor utilization? Well, the answer I got across the board was, you need to purchase more storage. Well, that was going to be a killer for us because we would be looking at over $100,000 for new storage. And part of the ROI, if you will, for our project is that we would be using existing equipment in our environment. So we were really faced with the possibility of killing the project if it meant spending $100,000 plus on new storage. We've been using Atlantis ILIO with VMware View for about 2.5 years now, and it truly is transparent, both from an end user perspective and from an administrator perspective. It really is a set it and forget it type of product. We have not had any stability issues whatsoever. It has functioned flawlessly throughout our entire experience with it. Without the Atlantis ILIO product, we would have had to have gone with a hardware solution. That hardware solution would have entailed purchasing 188 SanDisks in order to get the IOPS that we would have needed to support the 500 user environment. Obviously, a very expensive proposition. One of the nice benefits of the Atlantis ILIO product is it allowed us to do this with only 18 SanDisks, which we already had. So it reduced our total SAN footprint by 90% over what we would have needed to support it with a strictly hardware solution. The other benefit is it reduced the SAN real estate in the amount of disk space that we required. We would have required 5 terabytes to support 500 users in a traditional environment. We are supporting 500 users with 800 gigabytes. When we implemented the Atlantis ILIO product, our performance issues evaporated. Our end users immediately saw performance equal to, and in most cases better than what they had with their previous PCs. One of the benefits of using virtual desktop infrastructure is that you can implement high availability, and that was what we did. We implemented an N+1 server environment so that if we had a server fail, it could automatically transition over to a standby server without end users losing connectivity. One of the nice things about the Atlantis ILIO product is that in a high availability architecture like what we have, the Atlantis ILIO moves with the virtual desktops when transitioning from one server to another. Our experience with Atlantis ILIO has been outstanding, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody doing virtual desktop infrastructure because it's a very efficient and seamless way of addressing storage I/O issues.